Hey, welcome, Facebook. Thank you for joining today. We're live on YouTube and Facebook, and we only need 100 and about 80 something more YouTube subscribers in order to be able to get further away from the house and broadcast live from our phones. That's the rule, that we need 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So go over to youtube.com/wolfcampcollege and subscribe so that we can get to that point. Our goal is to be able to get out in the field to be able to unveil our Wolf Journey Earth Conservation courses, starting with the Trail of the Neighborhood Naturalist, which I wrote over 20 years ago, and am now reformatting for the online so that people can use that while they're home during the social distancing era. Studying from home or working from home, get outside 20 minutes a day and do these field exercises, become your neighborhood naturalist. And then the next book, Traditional Herbalist, and then the Wildlife Tracker, Survival Scout, and on through the series. Once a day until the social distancing era ends, and then we'll go once a week probably. And please also click on, if you have some financial resources right now, if you can donate to help keep our spring staff employed, or administrative staff in advance of summer camp season, which is going to be smaller also. So that would help. Today we are going to do at-latls, and it was going to be bees. Our honeybees here at Blue Sky Farm, Wolf Camp in the Conservation College is located here at the historic Blue Sky Farm. And our friend from downtown Puyallup who keeps bees has to keep them here because they can't keep them downtown, of course. And we have an incredible amount of orchards that need to be pollinated. And so we're going to bump till tomorrow the honeybee arrival broadcast, and also give an update on our mason bees, which are rocking and rolling. So join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. for that live. The following day, we're going to install solar, a little small solar installation that you can do for not very much money. And then we're going to do celebrate Earth Week by planting a tree correctly, sequester carbon by doing biochar, and then do a plant and bird walk along the Puyallup River Walk Trail in celebration of Earth Day, 50th anniversary on Wednesday. All right, so today, though, in addition to at-latls, I'm going to start with something we can't do an entire broadcast on, and that is rabbit sticks. Now, that's really quick because historically, as humans progressed in technology, they started by throwing rocks, and and then the next step up was throwing a rabbit stick. And I'm going to demonstrate real quick, and then I'm going to show you how easy it is to make one, and then we're going to do at-latls. And so, I don't know, I just gathered a few of these sticks together, and you can get any stick. So this is a pretty lightweight one. You want to be careful how you throw so that you're not throwing your arm out. But the basic rule of thumb is you have to hide the stick from the rabbit or whatever you're throwing at. Stock up or wait until something comes by. Keep that stick behind you. Of course, the target's up there. And I don't know if you can see it, but we got a little stuffed animal on top of the target. That's who I'm going for. I have to clear this so I'm out of the way. Make sure there's nobody and nothing out in front of you, because I have seen this happen. Woo! And it gets thrown backwards almost into somebody. Got to be careful, even with something as early in technology as this. And so this is one way to go if you are in open terrain where you have plenty of room to throw. And if you're in a wooded terrain, over the back, over the top of you, keep that elbow right over the top of you, and you're going to be throwing the elbow first, and then wrist, and then straight down. Just because I don't want to I don't want to use too heavy stick, otherwise I'm going to blast those the little setup I have there, and I have the backdrop way back there for the at-latl in a few minutes. So this is over the head. No dinner tonight from Rabbit Stick. We got to go for camera on further technology in order to get some dinner. Well, and Kim wouldn't eat it anyway. Vegetarian. She's loving this 3-day broadcast of bows and then arrows and then at-latls. All right, so it's super easy to make. Obviously, yesterday I harvested a couple of spruce that I thought I might take a look at for arrows, but I think I'm going to cut them up for rabbit stick and at-latls. So what we're going for, I'm going to show you a example of an at-latl. The at-latl is a spear thrower. And now I'm going to demonstrate throwing a spear and how the difference, huge difference it is to having basically an extension of your arm. It would make it probably the best spear thrower could go dozen, well, I don't know how many meters. Yeah, not very many. Definitely in the double digits of meters. With a at-latl or spear thrower, you can go in the 3 digits, like quarter of a mile of meters. So that would be maybe even half a kilometer. I mean, people have been able to throw at-latls incredible distance with an amazing accuracy. It's a way step up beyond bow and arrow. Even bow and arrow is historically good in close quarters with game that's about the size of a deer, but with the megafauna, which probably this at-latl wiped out as of about 8,000 years ago. Between about 100,000 and 8,000 years ago, humans were so successful with the megafauna. According to my research, some other people have other kinds of theories as to what happened to the megafauna. But basically, you want to have a stick that has a point on the end of it, but pointing this direction. And your spear is going to sit right in there, and you're going to throw. Your spear is basically hitting this point in the middle. I'll show you that in a minute. I'd rather have it curve a little bit the other direction, or have it absolutely straight is the best thing. But you know, when all you've got to find is what you have around you, you know, you've got to work with what you've got. And yesterday I happened to harvest a couple pieces of spruce, and so I'm going to cut this at a couple of points where I might be able to make at-latl, and then I'm going to use the remainder for a rabbit stick. So take a look at this spot. Now all the branches on certain trees tend to, some go straight out. That's not going to work really well for a at-latl. You want branches that kind of go in the direction of growth of the rest of it. And so that point right there might be pretty good for a at-latl. And so I'm going to cut this off right about here. And try to make it into at-latl. Now, let me see if that's going to throw well. There's a bit of a crook here, but it might actually work out well if I size this correctly. Also might want to go down here, especially if you have a smaller person, and take a smaller part of the branch that you are making your at-latl out of. Put it down here. Make it a lot quicker on my stump. Stumps are the best. You got to have one for whenever you're making anything. Spruce is so pitchy, though. It really gets yourself caught easily. There we go. All right, there we are. Well, that's only one cut. We got to make two. Yeah, so I don't know. First, you want to size it. You don't want it too long, because as it's going up through the air, that would raise the back of your spear and have it go down by the time you release. And so you want to have it maybe about the length from your shoulder to your, grip, maybe the length of your arm at the most. So let's see, I'm going to measure that here, grab it there. And so, yeah, cut it down there somewhere. You can always make it a little bit longer because you don't have to grab it at the very end necessarily. And you can always cut off more later. So on your first cut, make it a little longer than you think. And this, by the way, I just happened to accidentally break off, or it broke off by itself. But you got to check and make sure it's strong, which it is. And take off these other little pieces. They don't get in the way. I don't know, that's kind of weird. I might leave that there, just heck of it. Again, you can always take off more later. Clean it up a little bit. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. That is an at-latl. Okay, the at-latl is the actual thrower. Now you're going to be throwing a spear or a dart or an arrow, depending on how big it is or how you want to call it. And I've got all sizes of those, so we're going to try all three, maybe two different kinds of each of those three. You want to probably make this not so sharp that it is weak, but sharp enough where it sticks into the end of your dart. I'm going to call them darts because most people say at-latl dart nowadays. So I'll make it a little bit more sharp here. and you want it going, try to have it aim pretty close. Most of them are sticking up a little bit, but you want to have it aim as far forward as possible, and always cut away from yourself. If you need to cut toward yourself, turn it around. Turn whatever you're using around. That is the way that you don't get cut. All right. I'm going to say that's sharp enough for learning. So the first thing I'm going to start with is a maybe the arrow I was using yesterday. I haven't done a thing with it, but at the end I just sharpened it, and you want to get this as sharp as possible because now with a bow and arrow, you probably can't get this through an animal, but with an at-latl, you probably can. And you know, when people talk about archery safety, they think about bows and arrows, but I'll tell you what, at-latls are much more dangerous. So they go much further, and partially because the dart they're using is heavier, and so it can travel through the air and break that air resistance a lot longer, a lot further. So you got to be very careful. In that direction, there's nothing for a quarter mile. I've never thrown one longer than a quarter mile. Plus, we're going to be using not very good arrows and darts and things like that, just as examples of things that you can do in a survival situation, because that's the take that we're using right now. So on a at-latl, this is the arrow I made yesterday. I was going to cut it down further, straighten it out, and this is hazelnut that I harvested right before the rodcast yesterday. Put one feather on there, and that'll help actually. It'd be nice to get a really nice fletching on there, but one's better than nothing. And it's heavier at the end, the sharp end. That's what you need, because the heavy end is the one that's always going to end up going first. All right, so you just stick it right in there, in that point that you made. And then you have to hang on to it. I'm going to try to, my at-latl is kind of wonky. That's all right. And so is the arrow, so it kind of works out well with the dart. And so hold on to it like that with maybe your 2 forefingers and your thumb. And because you got to apply a little bit of pressure to keep, I didn't really make much of a indentation in my base of my arrow. And so I'm not putting any pressure on here. So it's okay that it's pointing toward myself. I'm just spinning it to get that a little deeper so that the point of the at-latl can go in here further. Now I really would, to make sure I don't split this accidentally with a lot of pressure from the at-latl, should wrap this up right here. And because I do, this could turn into a very good arrow after I straighten it and everything. It was pre-seasoned on the stock. I've got right here some more sinew. This is actual backstrap from a deer. In other words, their spinal cord. And this is artificial sinew. And yesterday we used the real sinew for putting the front end on, because sinew is so great. You just chew on it a little bit, and then you wrap it, and you don't even have to tie it because it sticks to itself. This is artificial sinew. I'm going to use that up here and just wrap it a lot. But problem with artificial sinew is all it is waxed. I don't even know. I haven't ever looked it up. Started using this long before the internet would have been able to tell me. So if anybody knows and want to look it up, throw it in the comments right now, those of you that are watching, what artificial sinew is made of. So I'm going to cut it, hold the back of that feather on, but also hold the base of the arrow together so that it doesn't split apart when we throw this. All right, it does stick a little bit, but that's probably because I actually, and I'm going to do that right now, this spruce, has this glob of sap where it was injured right there. And so I'm going to take another stick so I don't get my fingers all sticky. By the way, if they do get sticky, miracle cure, get sap off, is butter. Amazing. So I'm going to stick this in here. Pretty dried, but I'm going to squish it onto that artificial sinew, and that'll help it stick. Because I'm close by to some butter, I'm not too worried about getting my fingers sticky. All right, so that should stay on there until we throw it. We'll see. All right, where did my at-latl go that I just made? Okay, let's put that back in there and make it a little bit sharper. That knife was not doing too well, so I'm going to pull out my... By the way, I use Mora knives. They used to be made in Sweden. Actually, they may still be made in Sweden, but a company right here in the Seattle area called Industrial Revolution bought the 400-year-old Mora, Frost Mora of Sweden company. And they've always had very inexpensive knives that were, better than anything for the money, $20. I recommend and I'm not a sponsor or anything. We do sell them at programs, but we don't sell things retail much. Is to get like the $20 Clipper Companion stainless steel. This is a carbon steel. It's turned black ready in the Pacific Northwest rainy area. It rusts really easily. Easier to sharpen, but doesn't stay as sharp as, or I can say sharp as long as a stainless steel. All right, so there's the at-latl put back together. I just stuck that in there, and we're going to try to throw it. So what you want to do for this is the method is that you keep your arms straight, and this is as short of a dart or a spear you would ever want, because you can't have it any further behind you, or otherwise you would spear yourself. And so take this off so I can show you. The method is to bring your elbow in front of you, and then extend your arm, wrist, and then the at-latl doubles the length of your arm. And probably, I don't know what the experiments are, I haven't looked for a while, but can multiply by 10 times, potentially, depending on your mechanism, the distance and velocity that you can throw your dart at. All right, let's give it a try. I'm going to go for a... might be able to see if there's a target, foam target at the over the top of this target, way in the back there where the backdrop, archery backdrop that should stop any arrow is located. I'm going to go a little closer because I don't want to hit the rain barrel. And since this is pretty wonky, there you go. So point in the direction that you are throwing, and you're basically making a big T. That's it. I mean, hit the backdrop, didn't hit the target because as that arrow that I made yesterday, I haven't straightened it out yet. It just curved to the right a little bit. So yeah, that's why I missed. Okay, let's throw some other ones. I'm going to just show you some examples of some spears students have made over the years and then forgotten to take home after camp or whatever. A way to make a spear. These were designed for fish spears. But what you do is, you wrap up your spear so that when you make a split in it, it doesn't go too far. And then you make splits in it, and then you basically split them apart with sticks or whatever. That's not a great example. But I've got a few more. This one is maybe one step up, where it's still very messy. But this was originally wrapped up right here with this jute string, and then split into, actually that's pretty impressive, split into 6 parts. That's kind of neat. I might renovate that. And this is this is a sturdy piece of wood. We might try throwing this. I think my at-latl might be a little bit light for this heavy spear. So I'm going to try to even see if I can throw it all the way to the target. Now this is designed just as a fish spear though, where you hold on to it and don't let go. So you basically are right in the water or just above the water barely, and your fish you can't move because your fish will see this. But that's it. And you hold your fish basically in the ground unless you have some barbed points down there at the end that could maybe hold a fish. All right, well, I'm going to see if I can throw it can, the classic is to furl like that. So I'm going to try it as if I'm holding a at-latl at the end here. Didn't quite make it to the backdrop, and that was as hard as I would throw at 50 years old. Otherwise, my arm would go out. At-latl, you don't have to worry about that, really. And this spear is made at the wrong end. You always make your, well, you don't maybe always, but generally make your spear at the heavy end. I'm going to have to ask Kim to plug that. Hey, Kimmer, can you plug in my phone right here into the battery? It's at 20%, so it's all right, but it needs just in case. Speaking of which, we have another about 9 minutes to go. This is bamboo, and speaking of bamboo, they're probably, if you're going to if you want a nice straight at-latl dart, use bamboo. And I'm going to show you, if you don't have any area to harvest, I mean, you can just plant it and it'll grow crazy. I got to be careful, depending if it's spreading kind or not. But these you can buy at any of the big lumber stores in their garden sections or whatever. These happen to be perfect at-latl type strength, spine weight, and length for a small at-latl dart. And you can just fletch it up, put feathers on one side, on the light side, and on the heavy side put in your arrowhead of whatever kind that you want. I'll show you just some really, student arrowheads so you get an example. It's right underneath the spruce, hidden, camouflaged by the spruce. This is a cool cedar quiver, but it's loud. Got to pad it in there. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. And so this was just from this. I haven't gone through everything from summer yet because I usually do before the next summer. That's a little obsidian arrowhead at the end of a bamboo stick. So that's an interesting arrowhead. And here, this one is a hazelnut arrow. Somebody put some colored feathers on, fletched it, not very great, but whatever. And then on the front, there's a little bit of slate stuck in there, and that should have been wrapped also. It doesn't split too far, but it hasn't split anymore. I might have to renovate this one as well. Actually, oh, this was there, so it doesn't split anymore. I might try to shoot that just for fun before I renovate it. Anyways, so that's an idea, but I'm going to pull out one of these bought at, these bamboo that were bought at a lumber store in the garden section, and see if I can, and they have, of course, bamboo already is hollow usually, and that is a grass, by the way. When you guys were marveling at how many things are in the grass family, corn is a grass. Oh yeah, so is bamboo. So where bamboo grows, grass, well, actually around the world, grasses might be number one most important plant. Anyway, I'll get back to that on Wednesday on Earth Day when we do that tour. So I'm going to try to use one of these at-latls. I guess I'll use this one so it's so pointed, and see if I can throw this one. It doesn't really have any fletching or a sharp point on the end, which is probably a good thing to practice because it's less dangerous. So you can get your at-latl form down. I'll demonstrate one more time. Again, it's kind of, the dart hits the at-latl, so that curve in there isn't so great. And I have to hold it at the very end because it's a little short for me, maybe. But again, hold it between your forefinger and your thumb. Put it right behind you. So it's going right across your face, basically. And point at your target. Feels really wonky. Because of that bend in the at-latl, but see what happens here. Oh, I tripped over the spruce. Yeah, that was why. Let's try another one. This is a bamboo. It's a little split down here, so that would have to get wrapped up before I could obviously put a lot of pressure on that. Oh, here's an interesting idea that somebody did at camp this summer, just as a, kind of a safe way to practice at-latl, making heavier at the very end of your at-latl like this. I'm gonna, and by the way, the one I just made in front of you is way better because that bend in that at-latl just kind of ruins it. I'm gonna try putting this in here and throwing this one where they put a weight at the end of the short little bamboo stick and see what happens. Ah! I haven't really made this real sharp right there on the at-latl to hold something like this, but what I made in front of you might be the best way to. Or yesterday, this is another one. Oh, this is interesting. It's not bamboo. Same idea, but somebody harvested this again. It looks like hazelnut with the bark taken off. Try this one. Get one going before we sign off today. Again, go to youtube.com/wolfcampcollege. We can get up to that 1,000 subscribers so we can get out in the field and unveil our Wolf Journey Earth Conservation courses. Join us tomorrow for the honeybees being delivered to Blue Sky Farm. Oh yeah, I might be, that one curved to the right, so I think you may be able to see it better than I can. It's actually probably a good idea to film yourself if you're wondering why you're not accurate. There's a lot of reasons. Bend this, that kind of thing. But I may have gone off to the side there. As a matter of fact, I wasn't thinking about going straight over my head. When we watch this back again, I'll probably see that. All right, well, that's just an introduction to at-latls. And let's see if I've forgotten. I put out a few things. And let's see if anything I forgot really that needs to be said. Let's leave it at that. It's just an introduction to survival at-latls. I am going to shoot the bow that I made 2 days ago in the broadcast. And I've been working on tillering it a little bit. Oops. And brought it right over the top accidentally. And well, I'll go ahead and probably sign off. But I want everybody to be well out there. And I want to thank you for watching. And thank you for supporting us. And join tomorrow. I'm going to keep it going, rolling for the heck of it. But I might cut it off when we edit. And I want to see if the tillering that I did on this bow yesterday, and plus using a little bit better of an arrow, I haven't shot it, will make a difference. And of course, the string that we made a few broadcasts ago and taught everybody how to do is broke on Thursday. And then I'm going to also probably see what the spine weight is. This is a green vine maple. And after I get tillered just perfectly, I'm going to seal it up really well so that it seasons and dries really slowly. They tend to not crack and break even green. But when it's dried and seasoned, it'll have an amazing cast or recall. All right, I'm going to grab a arrow. See if there's a made arrow that'll work. I'll just use this practice arrow made out of cedar. And when you do launch an arrow, the odd colored feather goes out. You want to have your arrow on the outside, the target side of your bow. Have everything facing down. Stick it in there if you can. You don't have to hold on to the arrow at all, because when you pull back on the string kind of spins that way. And so all you want to use is 2 fingers or 3 fingers. You're not really holding on to the arrow at all. You're just touching the top and the bottom of it. See what happens here. I'm going to shoot. I don't know. I guess I'll have to tell you what. And again, instinctual shooting is you raise your bow and pull back your arrow to your. I'm not going to go all the way to my mouth because still most of the bend is right here in the handle. I got to tiller it some more. I don't want it to have a lot of pressure there, so I'm going to go up a little ways. And instinctual shooting is you just shoot as soon as you get practice doing this so that you can get really accurate as possible. And look at the other videos on our arrow making blog that was just went out yesterday, at wolfcollege.com blog. And you can see at the very bottom we have a guest YouTube video about a guy that's so fast and so accurate at instinctual shooting like this. And then you freeze for a long time after you shoot, because you don't want that animal to know where you were. Otherwise, they'll run the other direction and may die with being able to find it. You can't track it down, which happens, so be careful. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow with the honeybees. All right.